All right, Ike. So this week in the news, I think the biggest news is that neither you or I have had any time to look at the news because we have more than a few things going on with prepping a Rebelle Rally team and moving one's shop from one side of Eugene to the other. So first off, how's the big move going? Imagine it like the Oregon Trail. Like Jason has got a Series 1 hooked up to several Oxens and Linus, and you're just pulling rack systems across the river.
Yeah, basically, we have cars that are awaiting repairs that are non-running, and then we have some cars that are the other half of the vehicles are running. So we just tie the running ones to the non-running ones and tow them.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. Yeah, just like a big ox mule kind of, just a big wagon train, Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got a building, and a lot of the building was office, and so we're removing a lot of the office, and that's been a big project. So we can epoxy coat the floors and make it real nice workshop / warehouse space, and it's really coming along, and I'm hoping to have everything pretty well moved next week. Well, I have to have everything moved.
That's just how it is. Yeah, the nice thing about the epoxy coated floor is if you get a little bit of gear oil on it, and you have like an assembled hub, you can do Land Rover curling because it becomes as slick a surface as anything on Earth. So looking forward to that. I slipped almost entirely under the Camel Trophy truck the other day.
Maybe that can be a segment for a future show, garage floor coating, since we've been doing a lot of research and preparation on that.
And I have just done some repair on mine, which was an interesting process. They've gone in a couple big giant gashes that I had, and some repair they had to do around the holes for the body anchors. They've come in and done some epoxy repair. So it's really cool. Actually, it works really well. I was skeptical that it could ever really, really be repaired, but they're like, yeah, no problem. We'll get whatever. So anyways, we should do in an upcoming show. We'll have to do that. But we're now more than 80% on the Defender, and wheels will get here tomorrow. Tires got here yesterday. Well, 4 tires got here yesterday, and my shopmate gave me a call and said, your 4 tires got here. I said, 4? There's supposed to be 6. And he said, oh, no, there's just 4. And we quickly composed an email to our friends at Maxxis as the guy pulled up with the truck again and said, oh, I think there's 2 more tires back here for you. So,
you forgot. So
we have all 6. We got all 6.
How do the wheels look?
They're not here yet. They'll get here tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow.
Wait, I'm literally so excited about
the wheels.
Excited
to see those folks at Braid. I think really hit that out of the park.
White rally wheels with orange beadlock. It's going to be so cool looking. Very rally. I mean, that's like that's exactly right. It's going to be delicious. And I mean, that's a hardcore rally car thing. Like that's real rally car shit. So I'm going to be pretty excited.
I'm excited to see it. We will definitely post up some pictures on the old social media for that.
Speaking of pictures, I think you should post up a picture of the toilet island that you've built in your workshop.
I didn't necessarily. I can't take credit for building Toilet Island, but because a portion of the building had a bunch of office in it, there was a toilet that was like in the middle of the building, and we were kind of do we take this out? Do we leave it in there? And so we ended up taking it all away, but except for the toilet, it's still in place until they do the floor. So Linus has been using it. He doesn't even care. Everyone is just walking around doing work all the way around, and he doesn't even mind. No shame, that guy.
No, he doesn't have any shame. I mean, what is there to be shame? It's everybody poops, so Linus is just in there taking advantage of the environment that he's found. He's very adaptable,
I would say that's right, except he's pretty proud of it, really.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. There's the photo that I have of him. It is a very prideful look using that particular potty. So, well, that's exciting. I mean, I think it's good. Anytime you can make an inconvenient and terrifying bathroom. Did you know that a lot of basements in Chicago have a toilet that is exposed to the basement? It's simply a toilet. There was a rumor.
How do you know this? How do you know this?
I listened. It was in a podcast I listened to. It was an NPR thing about the Chicago toilet, which is like in the basement. I'm sorry, it's not.
It's like a Chicago pizza.
It's not Chicago. It's not Chicago. And I say that because John's going to get very mad at me. It is a Pittsburgh toilet. That's the Pittsburgh toilet, and it is in the basement of a lot of homes in Pittsburgh. And it apparently is actually a sewage control mechanism. It's not actually meant to be used, but it's there to be the first overflow space, I think, in the
No
sewer
pun intended.
connection. No pun intended, because I guess the sewers there, whenever they popularized this, would back up every once in a while, and you'd want it to back up into the basement as opposed to into the home. And apparently that's why they're actually there. But a lot of people use them just open in the basement. It's just a potty hanging out in your basement, and you can, I kind of want one. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think I'm a bit envious of Toilet Island that you guys have a little bit.
You can come up and use it.
I may have to just pop up this weekend just to try that out, experience that before you get rid of it. So, yeah.
Speaking of ridiculous and silly, I have a friend who will remain nameless, who lives in an emissions area.
Oh, yeah.
And he has 2 Land Rovers.
Okay.
And he's one of them needs to go through the emissions process.
Yeah, as you do here in California, we're constantly dealing with that. Yeah.
And so he has a 110 with a 200 TDI.
Okay.
And that is not the original engine for his particular 110. It's an early 80s one, maybe an 85 or 6.
Okay.
Mid 80s, I guess. And he also has a Series 1 with a 2.5 liter diesel in it. So he has to pass emissions, and they do a particulate test, and they do check to see that the engine has its original equipment in it. So his does not. So he's planning to embark on the following saga. He is planning to remove the 200 TDI from his 110.
Okay.
Also remove the 2.5 liter naturally aspirated diesel from his Series 1. Install the 2.5 naturally aspirated diesel into the 110, which is the original engine, and then go through emissions, right?
Yes.
And then swap it all back.
Will that clear the vehicle forever, or does he have to do that every 2 years?
5 years, I guess, is where he lives. 5 years.
Only so 5 years, huh?
Yeah. And I was like, why don't you just move? That would be easier than
or
what
just
you're
register
describing.
it somewhere else. I mean, I would think you could register it in another state.
4 engine changes, no problem.
Yeah. Wow. That seems like a crazy fix. That seems like a lot of work.
It's more effort than it should be, I feel like.
Yeah. So will he then go also register the Series 1 with that same engine? Or it's old enough it doesn't matter?
I mean, they don't check. The Series 1 is old enough that it doesn't matter.
It's too old. Yeah, okay. All right.
It's too old. So it's not a problem.
That is amazing. That is seriously an industrial solution to that problem. That is yeah. Wow.
I think that's creating a new problem. That's just not solving anything. Not solving anything. I think my favorite part of that is that he's taking an engine out that's actually cleaner.
Yes.
In order to go through emissions. It's all ridiculous. It's ridiculous all the way around.
Yeah, it does seem like at this point there should be some type of grandfathering out, so that once a vehicle reaches a certain age, if it's still running, it shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to worry, But I know that's an unpopular thing, but it is. I don't know. He should just put an electric motor in it at this point. Like isn't it just as much work to just convert it to electric?
Probably
to doing 2 engine swaps. Just 2 engine swaps equal 1 EV conversion. I don't know how many engine swaps you have to do back and forth before. It's just easier. I don't know.
I mean, he's doing 2 engine swaps, but he's also kind of doing. I mean, let's see. He's taking an engine out. He's putting an engine in. He's taking an engine out, and he's putting it back in. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. It is a lot of work. Yeah, when you think about it, you're right. You've got to take the old Series 1 motor out. Yes. And then you've got to put it back into the Series 1 at some point. That's so in and out of the Series 1 is 2 swaps. Then you got to take the 200 TDI out. Yes. And then you got to put it back in. There's 2 more swaps. And then you've got to take the Series 1 motor and put it in and then take it back out. There's 2 more swaps. There's actually 6 engine swaps. Oh yeah, that sounds way better than just registering in Montana. Less paperwork, I guess. I don't know. Less paperwork. So we have a tip-top tooltip. It's actually a collection, if you will, of tip-top tooltips. It's a segment I'd like to call, what do you put in your tool roll? It's a great pickup line in a bar as well. you know?
What do you put in your tool roll? You never know who you might pick. Actually, you know who you
You
might
know,
pick up with that
with
line.
that line, yeah,
You're gonna get the type of
yeah,
person, the
yeah,
certain type of person.
a
So
certain type of person.
that begs the question, Stephen. What do you put in your tool roll?
Well, it's funny because we've been going through the Rebelle Rally prep, and as part of that, I've taken like what is 6 tool rolls, and some that live in vehicles all the time, and some that I take to events where I'm going to have to, I don't know, swap somebody's motor so they can meet emissions, and some that I'll just take if I'm going on a road trip or something. If I'm taking the new Defender, I just have an OBD2 scanner. That's all I need. I can't take anything else because you can't. I just have to reset the limp home so that I can continue to drive it on whatever I broke. But I mean, everybody has the standard stuff, right? You have wrenches. Got a nice. I have a set of ratcheting end wrenches. I like the ratcheting end wrenches. I think if it kind of cuts down on shit that you have to bring with you. I in the Stage one, the daily carry for the stage one, I have a set of double-sided wrenches, of very old double-sided wrenches that I like, which just because that car has a really tiny tool roll that I bring with it, but constantly has something broken on it, so I need to get in there quite often. And the double-sided wrenches, I like. I'm a big fan. You like a double-sided wrench?
A double-sided wrench. So this is a wrench that is an open-ended on both ends, or
Yeah, it's
this is a
open end on
box
both
end?
end, and it's going to have like a 12 mil on one side and a 10 mil on the other, or something like that, so that you sort
Mhm.
of have a collection of wrenches without, it takes up half the amount of space, which is kind of nice in a
So
smaller tool.
without having so many wrenches.
Yeah, you don't have to have as many wrenches. You know.
I like it.
There's some things you like.
I like the points file.
Yeah, yeah, you gotta like the points file. Points
I
file.
like the
Yeah.
points file. I like raw materials. I
hmm
like to have some raw materials in my
hmm
dual roll to
hmm
make repairs. So
hmm
things like wiring terminals.
hmm hmm
Things like fasteners.
hmm
Like small selection of fasteners,
Yep.
baling wire,
Oh yeah, the
zip
baling wire.
ties.
Yeah.
These sorts of things. A little bit of rubber sheeting, which has come
hmm
in handy a couple times when I've needed to fix a diaphragm and a fuel
hmm
pump or
hmm
something like that, some just a little bit of that, or a little bit of screen,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
repair like a pickup tube screen, or
Yep.
to sift something, or to filter something,
hmm
a little bit of gauze, brass gauze, that sort of thing. I like having a little bit of raw materials in the tool roll, nothing too excessive, but
Yeah.
some gasket paper so you can
Yep.
fix a leak or something like that. And
A little bit of
uh
wire is always nice in
yeah, and I
there.
feel like
Yeah.
there's some
Couple
things that
different
are
colors.
always overlooked in the tool roll. You always need a magnet to reach that
hmm
thing that's fallen down on the frame rail,
Yep.
so an extendable magnet is really handy.
Really nice.
Of course you carry the normal stuff, the sockets and
hmm
the wrenches. I like to carry a pretty heavy duty half-inch drive
hmm
flexible head
Yeah. Yep.
socket wrench.
hmm
And then instead of carrying all the 3/8 and all that stuff, I just use that for the lug wrench.
hmm
And then I have an adapter to use all the 3/8 sockets on that half-inch one, so that kind of covers a lot of stuff. But then I do carry a 1/4 inch set because those are really handy, all the
Yeah.
way up to
Yeah.
you know uh 9/16 or 15 millimeters in the 1/4 inch drive. Or
hmm
if
hmm
you're a BSF series 1 guy, the 3/8 BSF, in that range.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I like to carry. And then chisels. I like to carry a
hmm
chisel, couple different
Little
sizes of
little set of
chisels.
chisels. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
always remove a nut with a chisel, right?
Yeah,
You don't even
absolutely,
need any
absolutely. If you
wrenches.
had to, yeah. Everyone who's ever got a hub rebuilt, or has got a truck with rebuilt hubs has seen somebody who has chiseled those friggin' things on or off, for
Sometimes you
sure,
gotta.
for sure.
Sometimes you
Sometimes you
gotta.
have to. I
Yeah.
have the little like the Land Rover tool hub nut thing with a little
Sure.
bar that you can stick in it to get them off. That I have a proper size full on half-inch drive socket that I actually
Mhm.
rebuild hubs with. So I have that thing that I throw in like the crate of things that comes with the tool roll where if I'm going somewhere and it's just me and it's my car and I know it's going to be wrong, and I don't bother with some of that stuff because I can, if I had to, I could MacGyver it off. But if I'm going to like a for instance, in October, the Rover Rendezvous, the Land Rover Club meetup,
Yeah.
I will bring, I will tow my Kennedy stack behind the car because that somebody is going to be out there somewhere and a wheel is going to fall off their car and we're going to have to get in and completely rebuild. I mean, so I tend to bring. I have a couple of the Front Runner Wolf Pack boxes where I will keep one full of all kinds of spares, every belt and thing you can think of, and fuel filters, and all the sort of spare stuff, plug wires and plugs, and all the stuff that could possibly an extra coil, extra starters, extra all that sort of stuff. Where like on a day to day around Santa Clarita, I'm not going to need it because I'll just go get another Land Rover and flat tow the one that's broken down back to the shop, or get it towed maybe. But that's what Chris is for. He doesn't listen to the show, but he is on beck and call to flat tow me back to wherever I need to go.
He's on call. Yeah, I always
Yeah.
like to see a good old tool roll. There's a guy named Ian Harvey who has drove his Series 1 from Australia to England by way of
Mhm.
Africa a couple
Mhm.
times, and I enjoyed really looking through his tool roll. It's all like 60s vintage
Nice.
Stahwilly,
Nice.
German sort of
Yeah.
tools, and nice little 1/4 inch drives, and full sets of sockets and
Mhm.
fasteners and wrenches, and it's all very careworn. I love
Mhm.
seeing that stuff, and it's all in like vintage food and cracker tins,
Oh, that's cool.
like
Yeah, exactly, like a bunch of little
it's
squirreled away, bits. Yeah, no, I had growing up, and my grandfather gave me a set of quarter sockets that were in, like, a World War II, like, medical kit tin, like, from the that he brought back from the war, and it was full of little quarter sockets and a tiny, like, useful little, 1/4 inch socket, driver. Very cool. Well, and we would be remiss if not to say every tool roll and certainly every Land Rover is not complete without the Underpowered Hour Edition Chapman driver set. But you certainly should, if you haven't already purchased one from the fine people at Chapman Tools. It does have everything you need for your series Land Rover and all the way up to Defender. It's got little hex drives and stuff for some of the fiddly bits on the Defender. But I just used that just yesterday to change out the coil in the Defender because it was heat soaking. And so threw in my spare coil and threw out the old coil that is probably 30 years old, finally given up the goat. And yeah, so if you need to do little fiddly bits, I love the Chapman sets, and especially the tiny little driver socket, ratcheting socket that they have. It's super handy for like screw terminals and stuff. It's really nice to be able to get in there with the little angled jobby. It works really good on hose clamps too. I was using it just the other day to drive little 1/4 inch socket on the side of a hose clamp because being able to ratchet those in a really tiny space is super handy. I have a good set of screwdrivers. Who do you what screwdriver manufacturer do you like, Ike? That's a controversial
controversial topic. Yeah, I've been
yeah.
using Mayhew brand in
Yeah.
the shop
Hmm.
recently, and they're sort of like, they have the hexagonal shank, so you can
Yeah.
put a wrench on
Put a
the
wrench on it.
screwdriver, and they've got a hardened tip, and they've got a shank that goes all the way through the handle and has a
Hmm.
metal end on them, so you
Yeah.
can
You
can
pound on
really.
them.
Yeah, yeah. So they have a couple nice features like that. How about you?
I use Klein tool, the Klein screwdriver set. I have since I was in like high school. I've actually had some of my Klein screwdrivers since I was in high school. Some are super old. I like them. The only thing I don't like about them is that you don't know by looking at the end. Like if you're looking at them from the side and you can't see the tips, you're not sure which one is Phillips and which one is flat, which is kind of annoying. I have a set of just like Lowe's Cobalt ones that are on my rolling cart here in the shop
Mhm.
that are color coded blue and red. And so I've gone in and I actually shrink wrapped the end of the butts of all of my Klein screwdrivers with red and blue. For that reason, just because like you're under a car and like you're contorted into some insane angle and you look over at your tool roll, and it's nice to be able to say like I need a blue one. I just need something that's Phillips, or I just need something that's flathead. But they have the hexagonal sort of nut driver on the shanks, which is I think key. You have to have that. They're full tang. They go all the way through the handle. I do like that they have the rubber, and that's because they're really meant for sort of wiremen, right? They're electricians, screwdrivers. They have the rubber isolated handle, so if you were to stab it into your starter or something and arc it to the body of the car, you're not going to get electrocuted as badly with the rubber handle. But yeah, I think they've been really good. I've never broken the big flathead. It's like a hexagon. It's a square shank all the way down to the tip, and then that tapers back to a hexagonal drive that's right at the handle, so that you can put a wrench on it. And I've never broken one, and I've tried some stupid stuff with that thing, and never been able to break it. So they've been pretty good. And I don't know. I don't think they're the best screwdrivers, but they are the ones that I have had for the balance of my life, the greater portion of my life, and so it's just sort of one of those things. I don't mind the ones from Lowe's, actually. The Cobalt stuff, generally speaking, has been pretty good. I have a set of Craftsman ones that I break occasionally, and I take them back to Lowe's, and they just give me a new one. I took back to Lowe's a torque wrench that I bought from Sears in 1989, and they gave me a brand new torque wrench like 900 models later, because like the one that I had was so old, and they, of course, they didn't make it at all. I bought it at a Sears in Canada, and they gave me a brand new model at a Lowe's in California. So that's not a
Amazing.
bad warranty. That is not a
It's
bad
pretty
warranty.
solid.
Yeah,
Pretty
it's pretty
solid.
crazy.
So are you a tool roll or are you a toolbox person?
I have my tool roll. I have the same tool roll manufacturer, I believe, as you do. Our friends at the Adventure Tool Company
They're really nice.
up there in Colorado. I have one of their shop roll tool rolls, which is the big giant mega one with the flop over. The reason I like that one is because it isn't a tool roll that like tries to put stuff on the back and the front. It doesn't. It has a nice flap that opens up that you put all your flat things in. I have a piece of like oil absorbent ground sheet in there. I have some folded up gloves. I have some flat, some towels and things like that, shop rags in there. I have one of my flashlights in there, some scissors and stuff in the top part. And then in the roll part, they just have a bunch of little sized different pockets like any tool roll, right? But you can jam multiple things in there, and then two giant bags on the sides. That one is all sockets and one is all like Michigas. There's all kinds of sort of randomness in the one side, but that's where I've got, my baling wire, and I've got, little stuff in there, different little magnet things and picks and different, stuff like that. Stuff that when I reach my hand in, I won't get stabbed with. That's a pretty primary function of like, don't put
The,
stabby things in that pocket.
the stabby pocket.
The stabby pocket.
Stabby
Yeah.
pocket. Yes, I use the same tool roll, the Adventure Tool Company tool roll, and those folks are super nice. And we should maybe we should have those folks on the show.
I
That'd be
feel like
pretty
we should.
fun.
They make some awesome stuff.
They really
Liza
do.
has one of their like camping shower caddy things that has
Hmm.
or kitchen caddy, I guess it is. We use it for shower stuff, but you can put all that stuff in there. They make some really cool like map skins and really nice,
Yeah,
some great recovery bags, and it's all like super duper. I mean, wax canvas. You can't go wrong with the Linus approved wax canvas. It's all heavy duty stuff, and it's super nice, and it's kind of old worldy feeling. It doesn't feel like a brand new, like ballistic nylon tool roll that you bought off Amazon that like has all kinds of like, all kinds of like molly webbing points and stuff on the outside and stupid things that, it's like it was built to be a tool roll for somebody that has like, a disproportionate amount of tools probably that you're bringing with you. But so I bring that, I have my tool roll. And then, like I said, I have two wolf packs. And depending on if it's a small, medium or large event that I'm going to, I will start taking more and more stuff. And then of course for the Rebelle, we have then two full-size Rubbermaid containers of spare parts as well. So, drive shafts, half shafts, all that,
all
another
the
starter,
shafts.
everything that basically can break on the Defender is going with the girls to the rally. But that is definitely not the norm.
Yeah, that's
Unless we,
above and beyond.
that's a lot
I
of stuff.
I do like the tool roll. I also have a very soft spot for a particular toolbox, which
Mm,
is the Snap-on KRA 149. It's
mhm.
a 2-drawer toolbox,
Mhm.
and it has a divider inside that comes out. these are made in the 60s, so they're
Hmm.
like a vintage Land Rover, and they fit perfectly under the seat toolbox. They fit
Oh,
perfectly in there.
cool.
Super cool toolbox. They're getting kind of collectible, so they're a little
Yeah.
expensive, but
Yeah.
gosh, they're sure real nice. That's a neat little toolbox if you're looking for something pretty special for your special car. That's a
Yeah.
cool one.
Yeah, it's nice to not have to have something that, like, fits diagonally across your underseat toolbox, you know? It's something that kinda
Yeah,
just drops
fits
in
right
there
in.
nice, and
Yeah,
yeah, that's
it's
cool.
totally perfect.
Because inevitably, you're gonna put something in there in a little bag or even in a tool roll or something, and that's gonna work its way out, and pretty soon you've got a socket bouncing around in that toolbox, and then every time you go around a corner, you get, like, the clunk of a, inch and 1/4 socket rolling around underneath your seat or something, so much nicer to have them in a little box and not have to worry about that. So,
No doubt.
do you bring any electric tools with you? Do you bring like a DeWalt Hugga Dugga or anything like that?
Oh, like electric power tools? Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes if I'm expecting to have to change a tire, I will do that, but typically I don't. I just use like a nice breaker bar or a
Yeah.
nice large ratchet for
Mhm.
for changing tires, and don't even have a hydraulic jack. I use a mechanical screw jack that comes with
Just
the
a screw
Land
jack,
Rover.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those things are pretty fast. I think
Mhm.
that they're kind of an underrated tool. You can really lift up the car very quickly. It has the crank handle, so you can really spin it up and down and lift the vehicle's weight pretty quickly with those
Mhm.
things. For changing a tire, they're pretty darn
Oh,
fast.
yeah.
They
Yeah.
really are. But yeah, if I'm anticipating like doing a full vehicle change on the tires, I'll bring a real deal floor jack and
Yeah.
a electric. Usually I have a Milwaukee Fuel,
Mhm.
1/2 inch impact. Works pretty great. Works pretty great. It's definitely removed some bolts I thought it wouldn't.
Yeah, and didn't just break the heads off of them. I have a I think it might actually be a I don't know where I got it from. Anyways, I have an impact wrench, an air impact wrench that I'm in the process of changing all of the seals out to air conditioning seals so that it can run off of the CO2 tank in the Defender for the girls
Hmm.
for the rally
Yeah,
so that they can NASCAR pit crew those tires off if as
if necessary.
yeah, well, and in the case of a race like the rally, time is points, right? And so, being able to shoot the wheel nuts off, of course, you still have to put them back on with an amount of care. You don't want to just blast them back on there, but being able to get them off and being able to get them to near tight, and then doing the final tighten by hand, that saves you like minutes, 6 minutes possibly, and
Absolutely.
that's huge points. That's the difference between a finishing position at the end of the day, and so you do it then. But yeah, normally I just I have like a breaker bar that's like I don't use the tire iron that like came with the car or anything. I have a
Yeah, the
like
the
a
series
proper
Land
model
Rover
bar.
breaker bar is like this long.
Yeah, like 3 inches long. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
it's
really
and I'm holding on
yeah.
my fingers like it's probably seven
Like
inches
hanging
long. It's
loose.
pretty
Yeah, it's
ridiculous. Yeah.
about yeah. If you've ever hung loose, it's about that big. Yeah. No, I do that, and I do bring a hydraulic jack. I don't.
Mhm.
You see, so many people are like, "Oh, I have my high lift. I don't bring a hydraulic jack or anything." The problem with a high lift jack, especially on a high travel suspension vehicle like the Defender, is the vehicle's at like a 45-degree angle by the time the tire finally picks up off the ground. It lifts up all that suspension travel. Whereas a bottle jack, it's like 4 pumps underneath the axle and it's ready to go. I do have a really long handle for my bottle jack, so I can slide it under there with the handle and bottle jack it up. But
I'm from Indiana, and the Bloomfield manufacturing company is the one that makes the high lift jack, and
mhm,
so
mhm,
I do have a soft spot for the high lift jack,
mhm,
and
mhm.
it is a pretty versatile thing.
Oh, it's
You can
great.
clamp. In fact, I
Yep.
clamped a forklift mast the other day with one,
Mhm,
and you can winch and you can
mhm,
spread things apart, and you
mhm.
can lift vehicles, and you can do a lot with a high lift jack. Really, it's if you're a creative person, you can use it to solve a lot of problems on the trail. But it definitely has its limitations too, and it can be real dangerous. It's
Yeah,
not the most stable lifting
yeah.
platform. Have you seen a lot of people are converting trailer jacks into off-road jacks? That seems to be a popular thing. A lot of
I have.
Instagram
It's funny.
videos and
Yeah, we were talking
yeah,
about
that
that.
sort of thing.
I have lifting pin holes in the sides, the rock sliders on the Defender, and so I'm able to lift it up by those pinholes, and I have the adapter for the high lift jack to be able to do that. But yeah, I've seen people who have those same style rock sliders where yeah, they've literally actually just taken the trailer jack and they've had a pin modified for it. And they just stick it in the side and just, that's a really cool idea. I think it's a really neat idea. It's kind of the hybrid of those, right? It's like a screw jack meets a high lift jack. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty effective. Yeah, check that out online if you haven't seen those. Pretty neat little project if you're a handy fella with a welder and
with a welder.
Yeah.
I also saw someone on the last thing, as we're running out of time, but the last thing on that is I saw someone, speaking of trailer jacks, had taken the flat foot from a normal trailer jack and had welded a really good sized pneumatic caster to it for his off-road trailer. I have a little off-road trailer with the tent on top and that sort of stuff. And the wheels that you can get, the jack wheel that you can get isn't great, right? It's plastic, and even a really big one is sort of not great as soon as you get it into your campsite where it immediately just digs into the mud. And this guy had a nice big pneumatic tire. You can sort of let the air out of it a little bit and get it to kind of float over. Because they have those giant monster truck wheels on a lot of the back of them, right? The same as you're on your car or whatever. But then you're on the one little trailer jack on the front trying to get it through something. So I thought it was really clever that it's a super cheap way to just sort of modify something to have, because they just don't sell that. I mean, I don't know who would want that, honestly, but for those folks who do have to move their trailers around in the mud and stuff, it's a pretty cool mod. I think I'm going to build one. I'm going to definitely.
Is it a 8 or 10 inch wheelbarrow tire or something like that?
Yeah, exactly. It really is. It's seriously they just found the biggest caster they could get, right? Like an overlanding kind of, or a beach. I think they call them beach casters, right? Those little they're kind of puffy ones, and they're for rolling your shit out on the beach or whatever. And then they just modified it onto the little trailer jack wheel and stuck it on there, and yeah, just float over dirt and sticks and all kinds of stuff. And it's really cool. I think it's a neat.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. Well, at that, Ike, I think we're out of time for this week already. We got to get back to high lift jacking forklifts and God knows what else, but re-grounding everything in the Defender. So there's still much to do this week. It has been a slice as always. Good luck with the new shop. Good luck.
Thank you.
With Linus Potty Island. I hope everyone in the Pangolin 4x4 enjoys that. And
we'll be sure to get lots of photos for you.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get a flight up there this weekend to quickly use that before you guys demolish it, as I think it would be a loss if I didn't. So go hit the Google and see what I can find.
All right. See you soon.
The Underpowered Hour is produced by Liza Beres, Ike Goss, and me, Steve Beres. Pavel Svardov composed and performed our theme music. Consider supporting the show on Patreon, and if you already do, thank you. Your support makes the show possible. For even more, check out our Instagram or Facebook.